Final Cut Pro just copied Adobe Premiere Pro's worst feature, and it has me a bit worried for the future of their video editing software. What feature did Apple copy? Well, they copied the subscription. Yes, just like how Adobe charges $55 per month for Creative Cloud, Apple recently introduced Final Cut Pro for iPad, and with that new app came a new $5 per month or $50 per year subscription fee to use it. They're copying Adobe, and this might just be the beginning. Now, I don't want this video to be a bunch of fear-mongering or cause you to freak out and start leaving me angry comments down below, but I do want to take a bit to talk about this subscription and what it could mean in the future for all of us as video editors, regardless of whether you edit on Final Cut or Premiere Pro or DaVinci Resolve, Sony Vegas, or even Edius. Yes, Edius. I gotta say, if you think Apple or Resolve fanboys are vocal, they've got nothing on Edius fanboys. Y'all love your editing software. Anyways, let's talk about the potential future because I want you to be prepared for it as a video editor. Currently, if you want to edit on a desktop, Adobe Creative Cloud is going to cost you $55 per month, while Final Cut and DaVinci Resolve Studio are only a one-time $300 payment. And the argument for their pricing being set up this way is that Adobe is not a hardware company. They don't make any physical products that they can sell that would help offset the cost of their software, so they choose to charge a subscription for Premiere Pro and After Effects, etc. Apple and Blackmagic, on the other hand, are different though, with Apple being one of the wealthiest companies on earth that makes billions upon billions of dollars selling phones and computer hardware, so they can afford to charge significantly less for their editing software. Likewise, Blackmagic is not anywhere even remotely as big as Apple, but they are primarily a hardware company where they sell cameras and color panels and all sorts of tools for professional video editors. For many years, they charged multiple thousands of dollars for DaVinci Resolve, but then, eventually, as their cameras became more popular, they dropped the price to $1,000 for the software, then $300, and now, oftentimes when you purchase one of their cameras, they give you the studio version of the editing software for free. Heck, they even have a free version of DaVinci Resolve that's nearly as full-featured as the pay version. It's awesome. But the cheap price of this editing software is only possible because they are subsidizing the cost of developing the software with the hardware that they are selling. So with all this talk about Apple subsidizing the cost of their hardware, why do you think that they would start charging for a subscription, specifically for their iPad version of Final Cut Pro? Well, I think there are two reasons, and these are going to tie back into the desktop version of Final Cut in a minute, so stick with me. First, and what may be most obvious to you, you may have already typed it in a comment, is that people that use software on iPhones and iPads are significantly more used to paying subscription fees to use apps. Do you remember the good old days when you could buy a game like Angry Birds on the App Store for 99 cents? That doesn't happen anymore. It's becoming more and more rare to be able to buy an app outright. Instead, the vast majority of apps offer you a free trial, and then as soon as you fall in love with the app, they hit you with that nominal subscription fee. Sometimes it's $1 a month, sometimes it's $5 or $10. It doesn't matter. Everybody's moving to subscriptions. So it makes sense, right? Apple sees that people are used to paying for subscriptions on the App Store, so why wouldn't they charge a subscription for Final Cut? Well, that may be it. But if you think about it, in the grand scheme of things, how much money are Apple actually going to make from people signing up for Final Cut? They make so many billions of dollars per year. They ain't gonna be making much for $5 a month from video editors on iPads. Also, remember how I was just comparing Apple to Blackmagic Design and how they subsidize a lot of the cost of their software with the hardware that they sell so they can sell their software for really cheap? Well, Blackmagic actually beat Apple to the punch and released an iPad version of DaVinci Resolve in 2022, and guess what Blackmagic is charging for this app on the App Store? Is it a monthly subscription like Final Cut on iPad? No, it's free. Or if you want the studio version, it's a one-time fee of $95, because Blackmagic is treating Resolve for iPad just like their desktop software. So that leads us to the second and slightly less obvious reason why Apple may have chosen to start charging a subscription for Final Cut Pro on iPad. And I'm betting that this is the real reason. In short, over the past 10 years or so, Apple as a company has moved away from their reliance on hardware sales. Remember those hardware sales that help them subsidize the cost of their software and keep it really cheap? Instead, Apple began focusing on a major buzzword that much of their competition was already focusing on. No, the buzzword is not AI or crypto, thank God, but this buzzword is services, and specifically service revenue. Basically, Apple realized that instead of selling computers and phones and iPads to people every few years whenever they need to upgrade, it's far better to take a page from the likes of Netflix and charge a monthly subscription fee for various services. Enter the launch of little things like Apple TV Plus, Apple Arcade, podcast subscriptions, Apple Music, Apple Fitness Plus, Apple News Plus, and iCloud Plus. Ever hear of those? You might even be subscribed to one or two of them. I know I am. For context, Apple is making over $20 billion a quarter from these services, and they've reported that nearly 1 billion people are subscribed to one of their services. So this is a big business. And if you think that Apple is just making money selling phones or computers, I'm sorry, but that's not the way that their business works anymore. They've tasted the forbidden fruit. They want that recurring service revenue from you as a customer, and they're gonna get it. That brings us back to Final Cut on the iPad. In light of the consideration that Apple is now so heavily prioritizing services and service revenue, is it really that surprising that they would copy Adobe, who has an incredibly lucrative and successful subscription business model with their editing software? So here's where we are right now. As of the time of making this video, if you want Final Cut on the iPad, it's $5 per month or $50 per year. But the door has been opened. It's just open a crack right now, but it is open, and I'm betting that depending on how many people sign up for Final Cut Pro on iPad, we, as video editors, could very easily see Apple begin offering the desktop version of Final Cut Pro as a subscription as well. Think about it. They already have Apple TV Plus, News Plus, iCloud, and Fitness Plus. Is it really so hard to imagine a Final Cut Plus? There's no need for you to spend a lot of money up front anymore. $300? You don't need to pay that. You only need to pay, what, $10 a month or $100 per year, and you can have Final Cut on your desktop and iPad. What a deal! Ugh. It makes me want to barf even saying those words, but many of the big tech companies, Apple included, have realized that people are more than happy to pay subscriptions for products, and it may be only a matter of time before we see that with Final Cut 2. I mean, it's not like Apple hasn't made mistakes before with their video editing software. Remember Final Cut Pro 10 when it launched? Yeah, that wasn't exactly a resounding success and loved by the editing industry. It's doing better now, though. So tell me this then in the comments down below. Would you stick with Final Cut if Apple moves it to a subscription service? Maybe they copy Adobe even more and make a Final Cut Classic that you get to keep as a legacy Final Cut user, just like how Adobe treated CS6, which won't receive any updates anymore, but will continue to work as you expect. But if you want updates, you gotta subscribe to Final Cut Plus. Or, instead of sticking with Final Cut subscription, would you switch your editing software? I know Adobe will happily take your subscription money, that's obvious. And then there's Blackmagic over there with DaVinci Resolve. Still $300 one-time fee and an iPad app without a subscription fee in sight. Let me know down in the comments below what you choose. Also up in the corner and down below, I'm going to link to a video I made recently all about how Nikon and Red are changing the camera industry forever. So if you like this video, I think you'll like that too. I'll also link down below to my color presets, which if you like the colors of my talking head here and you want colors like this, you can get them for yourself at the link down below. Oh, and I'll also throw a link down below to my Edit Videos Like a Pro guide. This guide is completely free and will show you some of my biggest tips to how to edit videos better and faster. Thanks so much for watching. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to see more, and have a great day.